Arne, the club, of course, have already paid tribute, but yesterday would have been Diogo Jota's 29th birthday. And I know grief and loss never go away and they affect everyone differently, but is it even more difficult at moments like this for you and your players?
Yeah, it is, but I think in moments like this, we all have to understand that if it's difficult for us, how hard is it for his family, for his wife, children, parents? Yes, it's hard for us, but for them it must be so hard. His birthday, Christmas coming up, New Year's Eve, so it has been such a difficult year for them, and this month will not be an exception to that.
Yeah, of course, with all of us, like thoughts with the family. I do remember, and it will always stick with me actually, a conversation I had with you in the summer about how constant the grief is for you and your players. Every time you come into the training ground, walk into the canteen, get on the bus, the guys who would play games console with Diogo, that grief is with you constantly. And often workplace would be an escape for someone who's suffering grief. So can you talk to us briefly about that impact, how every day you feel the loss of Diogo?
I think that's even more for the players than it is for me, because they've shared a dressing room with him. I think there's always, between staff and players, we change in different places. So we see each other on the pitch a lot, and in the canteen maybe, but I think players see each other in the medical room and so much more. So for the players, it's I wouldn't say every second, but it's probably much more than for us already. But yeah, it is completely different than what usual when you grieve. It's usually someone. It's either someone family, a relative, or a relative of yours, or a friend of yours, and then you come to your work, and that's the place to forget your grief. And now that is the opposite. So now when they are here, the players are, and us as a staff as well, are much more confronted with it instead of when we are at home.
In those circumstances, and I know on the pitch it hasn't been the ideal season, but in the circumstances you faced, are you actually quite proud maybe of the way you've stuck together?
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the results, but how the players have, and our fans and everyone connected to the football club, from ownership level towards all the way down or up, the way you want to see it, to the fans. Everybody has conducted himself so well. Every game in the 20th minute, the fans sing for him, and from the moment it happened till now, I think I'm proud of how everyone has handled the situation. I think as a club, as players, as supporters, in my opinion, we couldn't have done better than we did, and I leave results completely out of this conversation.
Yeah, it's always really difficult after speaking about Diogo to then talk about football. It always seems just so insignificant, but just reflect on the last week for us, the last couple of results. What have you seen? Are there, I guess when a team's had such a tough period, you're just looking for a few green shoots.
Yeah.
Have you seen any?
Yeah, I definitely did. First of all, we've conceded 7 goals in our last 2 home games before we went to West Ham. And in the 2 games afterwards, we've only conceded 1. We were 1 deflected shot away from keeping 2 clean sheets. Given away hardly any chance at all. I think it took West Ham till the 90th minute before they got their first chance. It took Sunderland 93 minutes before they got their first chance. And people are like, what is he saying now? You went 1-0 down after 67? Yeah. But a shot of 20 yards is not a chance for me. They had 1 chance, not a chance, 1 shot in the first half from 25 yards that hit the bar, not a chance for me. And there was 1 set piece where they hit the post, which was from such a difficult angle that is for me an opportunity and not a chance. Their biggest chance and only chance of the game was when they went 1v1 towards Ali and Vedder cleared it off the line. We did not concede a set piece in the last 2 games. As a result of that, we got 2 results. I think there are a few players that we've brought in the summer that are making progress. Florian is the most obvious one for people maybe, but I think Milos is getting more and more consistent in his performance as well. Alex scored his first goal against West Ham. Hugo was already off to a good start. And unfortunately the other 2, if I'm correct, if I don't forget anyone that we've brought in, have been mainly injured, Jeremy Frimpong and Giovanni Leone.
So what have you done then to create that, what you've kind of achieved, if that's the right word, in the last couple of games, to not concede from set pieces, to not concede so many chances? Have you sort of changed anything fundamentally in terms of how you've approached games or how you've set the team up?
Not in set pieces, because we felt we've been very unlucky in set pieces. So what you could expect, the goals we could have expected to concede are so much less than what we've conceded in set pieces. And the opposite way around, exactly the same. We should have scored 2, 3, 4 goals maybe, at least from set pieces if you look at the amount of chances we've created. But unfortunately, and I'm talking about corners now, we haven't been able to score one. But that cannot continue like that if you look at how stats are. And defensively, I think we've been more solid, maybe taking less risk, which you then eventually see maybe as well in our chance creation, because that went down in the last 2 games a little bit as well. Compared to the games we've lost with 3 goals difference, we had a lot of chances, but conceded also more. So I think we've played more controlled, especially defensively, which you could see in the first half against Sunderland as well, where we didn't constantly take the risk of going man v man all the time. But still, also that game we had 68% ball possession, so you must do something right without the ball as well if you want to have the ball as much as we had. And the goal we scored also came from a moment like that Curtis was very aggressive, won the ball back, and Florian, for me, Florian could score on that, but it was an own goal, people told me.
Have you felt though the pressure and the scrutiny intensify maybe since that last international break? Because certainly from the outside you look at those games as, I hope this doesn't sound disrespectful, but winnable home games. And the problem is then when you don't win them, that's when the pressure really comes on. It's one thing losing at City and Chelsea, Forest at home, Sunderland at home, PSV at home. If you don't win those games, which you didn't, obviously people look at it differently.
Yeah, and they should, because we expect more from ourselves than these results. Let that be clear. And I think it's also obvious that we want to do better than we are doing. So apart from 2 games, 4 points, so 1 win and a 1 draw, when I look at our performance, there's enough room for improvement, but I think it's very difficult for a team to come from a certain level where we are at, because we've lost a few, to go back in 2 minutes towards the level we were at last season. I think that takes a bit of time as well, and the best way to do so is be defensively as solid as we can. And like I said, we were 1 deflection away of keeping 2 clean sheets, and we only conceded 2 big chances over. Well, the shot from Bowen was a very good chance, but the one from Sunderland was of course a big chance when he went 1-on-1 to the goalkeeper. So I see that we are doing that better, and now we have to build on that solid base and hopefully create more and more. But it's not so easy to create in this league, and we're not the only one struggling with that. I see a lot of teams struggling with a lot of teams in the Premier League at the moment. I think the Premier League has been better than ever, and I said the same last year. And it's hard for every team to beat Sunderland, for example, because they won at Stamford Bridge and they had a draw against Arsenal at home.
Lastly then, who supports you, Arne? I mean, it's must be lonely and really difficult being a leader, being a manager at a time like this. You've had a hell of a lot to deal with this season. So the people above you, how supportive are they?
No, first of all, my family is very, very, very supportive, as always, no matter if we win or lose, but maybe even more if we lose. And I think the same can be said about everyone in and around the football club, from ownership to Michael Edwards to Richard Hughes to press officer or whoever else, staff members are very helpful, as they've always been. Very, very positive, trying to do even more than they usually do to get results going. So I absolutely don't feel on my own. Of course, there are moments when it's difficult that you sometimes can feel alone, but generally speaking, I feel so much support. And the last one, I definitely must not forget, because you were talking about scrutiny and about pressure and this and this. But I think it's been the last 3 games where, or maybe even more, that I every time feel the support of the fans. And not only feel it, I can even hear it. So the ones that are in the stadium, in the away end at West Ham, and this time again against Sunderland, I can even hear the support I'm getting from our fans. So no one has to think that I feel lonely at the moment. Moments, which is normal, but generally speaking, I definitely not feel lonely. I feel a lot of support.
Do you actually feel like you've learned more about the club and the city and the people through the tough times than you did last season, when basically everything went to plan?
Yeah, I wouldn't say learn, but it has shown me even more how special this club is. Because if you win, I think every fan is supportive. Everywhere around the world, you can make the difference as a fan base when things are difficult. And I think the first time they've shown this was of course when the tragedy with Diogo happened. And the way this season has went, I think the players felt the same, a lot of support from them. And that's much more difficult for a fan base, and this is where they stand out compared to so many other fan bases.